You say, hallowed be thy name. What does it mean to hallow? It means to sanctify. The word in Greek is hagios, that means to sanctify. However, I have a problem with it. God is holy, holy, holy. How can I sanctify God's name? He is holy anyway. He doesn't need me to sanctify him. So, I looked into the Greek. And to the Greek, there is a word that is not usually used in the Bible. It's not hagios, it's hagiazo. And hagiazo, you know what it means? Let me sanctify your name through my life. Basically, people cannot see God, but they see you and me. We are an open book to people. And as we live, we bring dishonor or honor to God's name. You follow me? So basically, when you pray, you focus on God and say, Lord, would you let me live the fruit of the Spirit to the point that I represent Christ and I sanctify His name before the others? I remember, and you know the story from the book, I was working for this cooperation and I owned a glass business. I was cutting glass. And the big guy over the whole cooperation, over the whole county that was in the Communist Party came and said, you got to do the cincinaal. That means to work in 1 year, produce the productivity on 5 years. Basically, he wanted me to make so much profit in 1 year like in 5. And I said, that's not doable. Well, you got to, if not, you get in trouble with the government. And then he came to me and he said, you don't work Saturdays and Sundays. I said, sure, give to God what belongs to God and to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Saturday is for God, Sunday is for Caesar. I rest 2 days. And he said, I want you to work both days. I said, I don't have a problem to work Sunday, but Saturday, not gonna work. He said, yes, you will. In this country, you do what you are told. I said, well, I have a God, I do what He tells me. My father taught me not to be afraid of people. He taught me that we are children of the King of the universe. When people want to scare you, when Satan tries to scare you, my father told me the John Bunyan story. You remember John Bunyan? Have you read his book? When they got to the heaven's gates, there were dogs barking. Hop, 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 hop. And he got scared. He said, I'm going to go back. I'm afraid of dogs. And I said, well, I've traveled all my life to get here. Let's try again. He knocks in the heaven's door. Whoa, 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 dogs. And Peter comes to the door and says, come, son, come inside. I'm afraid of dogs. And Peter says, they are Satan's dogs, the neighbor's dogs. They have been trained. When you knock in our door, those dogs bark. Don't let Satan's dogs scare you away from heaven. So my father told me the story, and then my father said to me, you are a son of the King. Get your shoulders back. Get your head up and say yes or no and never compromise. So when that guy said to me, you come Saturday to work, if not we put you in prison. I got my shoulders back, I got my head up, I said, no, not gonna come. Well, long story short, he went to the warehouse and he got some ruined boxes of glass, bad, rotten. The wood box was totally rotten and the glass inside has been in rain and sun and snow, and the glass was all like glued together with a white powder in between and all cracked, broken. He got some bad glass. He brought it to my store, to my shop on a Saturday when I was not there. And when I came to work Sunday, he says, when I got this glass, it was good, but last night it got rotten. It takes years. And I looked to the other workers. Don't you say anything? And they said, they put their heads down. Jellyfish. They were afraid for themselves. They had no spine. Nobody defended me. So the guy said, I give you 2 options. Option number 1, you go in prison at least 7 years. Option number 2, actually 3 options. You pay for it. It was a big amount of money. I didn't have it. Option number 3, he said, you come on Saturdays, we forget everything. You will be okay. Easy to talk. What would you do? don't answer. We got to be honest, It's not easy. When you are about to go to prison for 7 years, it's not easy. But my father taught me that if I bend down and compromise and worship the image, I'm going to worship the image always. And if I don't stand now, I'll never stand. When the final crisis, the real crisis comes, I'll never stand. God wants me to get ready now. So I told him, I said, listen, not going to come. If you want to put me in prison, put me in prison. I went home and I started to pray like crazy. Please, Lord, please, crying, crisis, desperate. Please save my freedom, please. And you know what God said? Nothing. He was missing. My prayer would bounce in the ceiling and come back. And I didn't get any answer. So I went back, and next night I prayed the whole night. And my father noticed the lights on. Son, what is wrong? You didn't sleep last night. And I told him the story. And my father shook his head and said, hey, you go in the wrong direction. I said, why? I didn't compromise. I said, oh, it's not about that, son. You are so self-centered. All you care is you. I said, what are you talking about? I care for God. And my father said, that's what you like to think about yourself. But really, you care for you. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, what have you been praying for? Excuse me. I said, that God would save my freedom. You see what I am talking about? He said, what do you want me to pray for? And my father said, son, who should come first? I said, God. Okay, then what should you pray for? I don't know. Oh, yes, you do. You should pray for God. I said, how could I pray for God? God doesn't need my prayers. Oh, yes, He does. So I thought about it. And my father said, think about it. So I went back to my room and I started to think about it. And as I thought about it, I started to pray, Lord, if you want me to go to prison, I go to prison. Do whatever you want. May your will be done. Whatever would be for you. If it's for you, for your honor, for your work, if I can serve you better in prison, I go there. If it's for you to be saved, don't save me for the sake of my freedom. If I can serve you better in freedom, then let me be free. Whatever is for your name's sake. To the point that your name would be honored, that your work would prosper. Do that would be for you, not for me. You remember when children of Israel made a golden calf? You remember? Moses went to God and he prayed, please forgive them. And God said, no, they are a stubborn nation. They are evil. I got to destroy them and I will make you a big nation. And Moses said, please, brother, take my name off, but save them. And God said, no. And then Moses said, they deserve to die. But what are the nations going to say about you? Work for your name's sake. The nations say, you are not able to deliver, you don't keep your word, you are not a loving God. Work that they will know that there is a God. And when Moses prayed for God, not for them, God said, I will forgive them. Do you follow? Those are the prayers that God cannot reject. When you forget self, and you say, I shall decrease and He shall increase. I shall disappear and He shall be everything. When you forget your real problems, your cancer, your whatever, your job, it may be real, it may be painful. But you say, Lord, you know my need. Do what you want for your name's sake. I don't need to understand. I will accept it joyfully. Like Paul. Paul says, I have a problem. And God said, my grace is sufficient. And God did not answer Paul's prayer. Ellen White prayed and said, God said, no, you'll be sick. And she was sick. Wow, that's a tough prayer to pray. When we prayed for our son, as long as we prayed for his healing, God didn't answer. When we prayed for his salvation, God finally answered. You follow me? That's not an easy prayer, folks. It's easy when you don't go through crisis, but when you do go, that's a tough prayer to pray. When you say, whatever is for your name, glory, that means, hallowed be thy name. That means, Lord, do whatever to me, even if you have to kill me, If that would serve you, do it. Here I am. I make myself, my family, my life, my job, my house available to you. You come first. Folks, you hear me? That means, hallowed be thy name.